So, what is the problem? Let me begin with Dr. Osae-Kwapong. Some say this is a master stroke. Their party is literally in shambles, they admit. A powerful party in government with good numbers in parliament, a supermajority, now went to a hung parliament, and then suddenly they can only boast of 88 MPs. And now they have to face elections, having lost with such a humongous defeat. We're told almost never in the history of the country. Doing this early in the manner they are seeking to do it, good or bad?
Let me phrase it as concerning. Concerning only because, this won't be the first time that they are holding their primaries 2 years before the presidential election. I think in the 2000 election, they held a primary in 1998. The 2012 election, I think by 2010, they had held a primary. 2016, they held a primary in 2014. So an early primary is not something that is new to the party. I think where my concern comes in is that post the election and the formation of the Professor Michael Quay Committee to look into, the reasons for the loss and make recommendations. I was on a platform once with Mr. Richard Ahiagba, who talked about the fact that whilst they won't make the report public, the committee has made some recommendations for reforms, etc., some particular issues that the party needs to address. One of which was, the only one that he mentioned was the expansion of the Electoral College. So they set up another group, I think, to study the recommendations and then come up with the way forward. So where I find it concerning is that I was expecting that whatever those recommendations are, they will be studied. They will develop a roadmap for moving ahead in responding to those recommendations for the necessary changes and reforms, get that in place, resolve all of those challenges, and then start moving ahead with electing executives for the party and then ultimately electing their flag bearer. This seems to be doing it the other way around. And that's where, for me, my concern is that why now, before enacting the necessary reforms as per the recommendations, whatever they were in the Professor Michael Quay report?
Have you heard some explanations that say that the process is going to be costly, it will be very divisive, they're already down there, and this approach appears to be one that will hold them together so that at least each hopeful, Baumia, Kennedy, Yahweh Duchum, Kobne Japon, he's also in, is it? Interested, is he? Okay, well, Brian Champong. Each person needs to spend in excess of about 40 million, at least, Ghana cedis, just for the internal processes of choosing the constituency or electoral area people. And all of these will be seeking to sponsor people who favor them. So you are going to elect your flag bearer, and they are all doing this for their parochial interests. In the end, one person is chosen, and the rest cannot seem to work with that person. But this gives them the opportunity, if they have any money, they will channel it to the party to help the reorganization processes. And the election process does not leave you with, my people did not win, or something of the sort.
So I've heard that, and also in following the conversations, particularly on social media, between the two main candidates, right? When I look at those who are supporting the Honorable Kennedy Paul and those who are supporting the former vice president, when I look at sometimes the rhetoric, some of the exchanges, how intense it gets, it suggests to me that one of the things that the party is trying to address with this early primary is, let's get this over with sooner rather than later, and then we can spend the rest of the time rebuilding, forging that unity that we need in going into the 2028 election. But an early primary for me is not necessarily the solution to party unity. What becomes, what is critical for me is how you manage and deal with grievances, especially post-primary grievances that emerge. That for me is what is critical, because at the end of the day,
so they are seeking to cure part of that with this solution. Don't you see it, as some of them argue? And I've heard Paul Ademochiri actually give an expansive explanation as to why this is the master stroke. They are going to go into these regional or executive elections. Each of these hopefuls will begin to sponsor someone, party chairman, regional chairman, constituency that. They will begin to sponsor people. Then they go through this process. Some of these people will lose. They will not win. Then they begin to say, Baumia's candidate lost here. Brian Champong's candidate won here. Then, when it gets to the flag bearership, you have a region that is controlled by a Brian Champong chairman going to be part of the supervision of the flag bearership for people that he has his favorite in. They say that will even divide the party the more. You don't see that?
No, but Samson, who is to say that if you hold an early primary and the losing candidate may not feel a certain may not feel aggrieved in a way that when you start having these other elections for party officials, right, that they may still choose to sponsor their own candidate to a regional or to a constituency or to a national position.
What you understand is that the natural thing that happens is that once they pick a flag bearer, everybody gravitates to the flag bearer, and then the elections in the grassroots level does not become as acrimonious, and because these other candidates or hopefuls will all rally behind one person who will become the leader. So there won't be divisions down there.
Well, I mean, that's one plausible argument. But as I also keep saying, we have also seen what some of these intra-party elections have produced in terms of the acrimony, the divisions, and all of that. So whilst there is some merit to that argument, I again just worry that for everything that was said about there is the need for certain important reforms to be made post the 2024 election. Unless, of course, the reforms are inconsequential to strengthening the party's structures, strengthening the party in going into 2028. But from at least from what was shared publicly in terms of some things need to be done, I'm just worried that those things haven't been done, and you are going into a primary against the backdrop of those challenges.
They haven't said they have jettisoned those. They are going to do those things, but they will do them at the right time. They're going to have a meeting of some council, and then subsequently, is it in July, they'll have one meeting. Yes, they will have one meeting to trash out certain things that have to be taken care of. The constitutional reforms that has to be done at the apex, that is the annual gathering of all who matter in the party. They say that everything rises and falls on leadership. So pick the arrowhead. Do you buy that?
Well, like I said, I mean, hey, it's the party gets to do what they believe is in the in the best interests of the party. But as I keep saying, for me, the kinds of things that would produce party unity and help the party to address whatever challenges that the party needs to address, in my opinion, an early primary is not the answer to that.
Okay, please hold on.